They say the truth sets you free, but what if the lies feel safer? Welcome to The Lies Between Us, a romance tangled in art, betrayal, and the dangerous allure of power. Written by Astral Muse, this is a story about Celeste Hawthorne, a woman who sees the world through her lens, but is suddenly forced to face what she's been running from. Listen closely. Every glance, every word, and every silence hides something more. The sleek white walls of the gallery gleamed under the soft halogen lighting. The sharp contrast of black and white photographs was a perfect reflection of Celeste Hawthorne's emotional state. Raw, unfiltered, and painfully real. Her art was her escape, but tonight, it felt like she was observing her own life from behind the lens. She moved through the crowd, but it was as if the noise of the bustling gallery was muffled. The voices a distant hum in the back of her mind. Her mind wasn't there, at least not fully. The latest exhibition, with her work on display, felt like a mask. These portraits were her emotions, captured in frames, but they were from another time, another version of herself. She was no longer the woman who had poured her soul into each shot. Her eyes, however, still saw everything. The raw emotions behind the portraits, a flicker of anguish, a flash of longing, moments that spoke to the soul. These were the echoes of a woman she once was, but Celeste was a different person now. Someone who had learned to guard herself after everything that had crumbled. The sound of footsteps pulled her back into the present. She glanced over her shoulder as the door to the gallery opened. A tall figure strode in, his tailored suit sharp against the backdrop of muted grays and blacks. Adrian Voss had that aura, elegant, dangerous, and untouched by the world around him. His gaze swept the room, settling momentarily on her work. His eyes darkened with interest as they lingered on one particular photograph. A woman standing alone in the rain, her face streaked with tears, her back turned, as if fleeing from something or someone. Celeste met his eyes as he approached, a quiet challenge in his confident steps. She wasn't used to being looked at like this, not for her art, at least not this intensely. His gaze was piercing, like he was seeing her, not just the pictures on the wall. Adrian stopped before a black and white portrait, a hint of admiration in his voice.
This one. It's as if she's not just looking away from the camera, but from the world itself, a scream trapped inside a whisper.
Adrian said quietly. Celeste shifted slightly, her hands slipping into the pockets of her leather jacket as she maintained a composed exterior, though her heart drummed in her chest.
Sometimes it's the unspoken that speaks the loudest,
Celeste replied indifferently. Adrian's lips quirked, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He was intrigued, more than just by the photograph. There was something about her, something beyond art.
And what about you, Celeste? What are you trying to say?
Says Adrian while stepping closer. Celeste's pulse quickened, but she held his gaze unflinching. She had perfected the art of emotional distance, and no man, especially one as arrogantly confident as him, was going to make her break her walls.
Art doesn't always need to make sense to be powerful.
That's an interesting approach, but I think it's more than just power. I think you want to be seen for who you really are.
Her breath hitched, but she quickly masked it with a controlled shrug. He was far too perceptive for comfort. It had been a long time since anyone truly saw her. The fact that Adrian was doing so with nothing more than a few words made her both intrigued and wary. As the night wore on, the crowd thickened. But Adrian didn't leave her side. He stood, talked, and observed, always watching her, as though he couldn't get enough of her, yet never pushing too hard. He was like a slow-burning fire, warm, enticing, and far more dangerous than he appeared. Then, as if the idea had been weighing on him all night, he spoke again, his voice quiet but firm like a promise.
I can offer you something more than just a gallery opening. Your work deserves more. International exhibitions, high-end projects, and the resources you need to truly push the boundaries of what you're doing.
Her stomach clenched, not out of excitement, but out of instinct. Nathan, her strange husband, once offered the same kind of promises, those smooth words that led to control and to expectations. She could feel the weight of it now, in Adrian's proposition.
You think I need you for that?
Adrian's expression softened, though his eyes remained intense, almost predatory.
No. I think you deserve something better than what you're settling for. I can help you escape from the cage you've built around yourself.
Celeste was frozen for a moment. Escape! It was exactly what she wanted. But the last time someone had promised her freedom, it came at a heavy price. An open marriage and emotional betrayal. This, whatever Adrian was offering, felt too familiar. She turned away, her lips curling into a faint smile.
I don't need saving.
But even as the words left her lips, she wasn't sure she believed them. There was a flicker of something in her chest, a yearning she hadn't felt in years. As the evening came to a close, Celeste stepped outside into the crisp air. The hum of the city felt distant, like she was walking through a dream. Her hand hovered over the door handle of her car when a figure stepped into her path. It was Nathan, the man who had once been her everything, and now was just a ghost of the past.
Making new connections, huh?
Said the man, smiling coldly. Celeste stiffened, her breath catching in her throat. It was Nathan. She hadn't seen him in months, and didn't want to. But here he was, in the shadows of her life, casting a long, dark shadow.
What do you want?
She said, trying to remain composed. Nathan's eyes glinted with something darker, something possessive.
I see you've met Adrian Voss. I hope you know that others want to control you, Celeste. It's always been that way, hasn't it?
The weight of his words sank into her chest, and suddenly, the world felt smaller, more suffocating. Celeste felt a chill down her spine. How does Nathan know Adrian? And what does he mean by control? Suddenly, her life and her independence feel like they're being threatened from all sides. That was just the beginning. In a world where everyone wants a piece of her, Celeste must decide who to torasuto, and what she's willing to risk for freedom. Thank you for listening to The Lies Between Us by Astral Muse. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who loves intense emotional romance. New episodes coming soon. Until then, be careful who you let in.